Hello everybody, my name is Said Zubair Nasib and I'm a boxing coach and also physiotherapy assistant at 1399 Kennedy Road, Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. The reason I'm making this video because I spend 60% of my life at the gym with sports, and I love sport and it's part of my life. So I tell you guys a little bit about my sport history and exercise history. So how I start. I was born in Afghanistan, Kabul, Sharanau, Zaishgai, Kona. It's called the hospital called Zaishgai Kona Awal. It's in Kabul, Sharanau. I grew up in first microyan. The building number was 24 and the apartment number was 7. Actually, I grew up in my grandparents' house, and we had our own also building, which was my dad and mom and my family was parents was living in Macroyan 3, building 128, because I have to convert it in English. So my first when I started school, going to school, I was 5 years old, because probably I was a little bit good, or whatever you call it, smart, whatever. So my grandparents decided I have to start my school from age of 5, because usually in Afghanistan at that time people was starting school at age of 7 years old. So I start when I was these lights going off because these are automatic, so I have to do something to it going back on. So I start school when I was 5. And the school was called Elaha Soroor, which is still I'm in love with that school. That was my first school. And then when I start going to school, my first sport was soccer. So I was in love with soccer and I was main defense always. And then I've been doing soccer all my life until I was grade 8 in Elaha Soroor. Beside that, my parents wanted to, I was a little bit short, because they were thinking because I play a lot of soccer, that caused me to, I don't get taller. So they asked me you have to start something like basketball or also volleyball. So I start playing volleyball and I had very high jump, and the people in Macroyan or Elaha Soroor, my friends, they all know me, still remember, they still know me from my high jump. And then I was playing volleyball, and I was in Elaha Soroor's school's high team level for basketball, for volleyball and soccer. And then one of my uncle, Farid Jan Sabori, because he was a boxer and he was one of the student of Ustad Salahuddin. So the people are boxers in Afghanistan, they know him. So he decided I start boxing at Club Maref. At that time I was 13 years old. So for the first time, one of my cousin, Farhad Jan, he was also boxer, and also one of our family, Shapur Jan and Jamshed Jan, was also our cousins from my Farid Jan Sabori's side, from our wife's side. So Shapur Jan, Jamshed Jan, these people were at the time a national team in Afghanistan. So I went with my cousin Farhad Jan when I was 13 years old for the first time. I went to Club Maref, And that time, Ustad Qarizadeh was the main teacher there and trainer, but at the time, Ustad Samim was, Ustad Haji Ahmad Samim was the trainer for afternoon 3 times a week. So for the first time, for the first day, I start boxing with my trainer, Ustad Haji Ahmad Samim, which he was in national team in Afghanistan, and also he was the trainer for national team in Afghanistan. And I start boxing with him. And the first day, he taught me what is the punch, what is the garrote, uppercut, or hook, everything. He was the one, and I was 13 years old, which is I start in Club Marif, boxing. So I was playing, I was doing boxing, volleyball, and also plus I was doing boxing, volleyball, soccer, always. 3 different sports. And I was a little bit good with each of them. And I was working on my body too, of course, with Ustad Haji Ahmad Samim at Club Marif. So I was really good. And then by the time Mujahideen arrived in Afghanistan, so that was the worst time in my life, because I had no choice. At the time, Ustad Haji Ahmad Samim also was out of Afghanistan. And then I was the beginning of the call for young people for national team in boxing. I just started to become a national team in Afghanistan for boxing. The teacher his name was Ustad Noor from Qalai Zaman Khan, and I was doing in Ghazi Stadium my training, which is war start, and Mujahideen came, and everyday rocket and stuff. I had no choice. I had to start something and doing something. I made my boxing gym in our building, the building we were living in, Makroyan Say, and then I had a small punching bag. I have to turn on these lights. So I start boxing, and everywhere was coming rocket. I remember one of the old men came and asked me, why are you doing so much exercise and everywhere is coming rocket? 5,000 missile in one day in Kabul city from Gulbuddin Hikmatyar, and he wanted to kill everybody in Kabul city, innocent people. And then I was doing my workout, and I laugh and I tell the guy, I say, you know what, I want to die healthy. I want to die a good boxer. I don't want to die weak. And then he laugh. He just say, okay, do your boxing, but I think we are all dying, because 50,000 missile sending Ustad Sayaf, Gulbuddin in Kabul, Afghanistan. So when I had no choice, there was a bodybuilding gym which was called in Makroyan, first Makroyan, beside block 20, beside building 20. So this gym called Club Milad. So because my body was good and I couldn't go for boxing, I had to do some exercise. I couldn't play volleyball. So I started doing some bodybuilding. And my teacher actually, Abdul Shakur Safi, one of my uncle, he was a good bodybuilder. And I started bodybuilding with him. I had no choice, but I was a boxer. So I started doing bodybuilding in this Club Milad, and my teacher was Ustad Nasir, his name. So for the first time, Mujahideen was in Afghanistan, Ahmad Shah Massoud and Rabbani was in power. For the first time, I had my first bodybuilding competition, which is the judges was Rahim Baraki and also Ustad Faizi and these guys. So it's hard to I bring all their names. And then I did my first competition for bodybuilding in Cinema Bakhtar in Kabul. And then the funny thing was, we were not allowed to wear shorts, so we had to have track pants or something. Only half body supposed to be show, but lower body, because the Mujahideen was thinking it's haram, so we had a competition with only half body, upper body. So if the people had no lower body good, the thighs or legs or whatever, so they were so happy. That was so funny. That was my first competition. And then I had another competition in a school called Istiqlal. In all Afghanistan, I become the third guy for bodybuilding for the middle height. And that time, Qadir Rambo, Sapan, the bodybuilders was that time there, so they were doing with me, Qadir Rambo, Qadir Panshiri, and that time lots of bodybuilders knew me, and my teacher was Ustad Nasir. So then Gulbuddin Hikmatyar start being stupid, and he turned with Dostum. They get together. These are our fighter in Afghanistan, or whatever, Manisha, whatever you call the terrorists. So they start fighting with Ahmad Shah Massoud, and they break all the buildings we were living, and they destroyed everything. So I had no choice. And you know what happened? And inside the gym with a rocket, they killed my teacher. My teacher, Ustad Nasir, in Club Milad Mikroyan, they killed him, and he become Shaheed. And that's how they did the Uzbek people. It's not the people, it's just the people was working for Dostum. They killed my teacher. And I was so sad, and it makes me still cry. And then I came to Pakistan. I had no choice. And then we ran away from Afghanistan to Pakistan. I had no lot of money in Pakistan, and I had to do my sport, and still I had no choice because I couldn't pay the money for bodybuilding and for boxing. I had no choice. One of my uncle friends, he had a black belt, and he had a gym, and his gym was called Mohsin Wafa's club, and he was the black belt for Taekwondo. I had no choice. I had to start Taekwondo in Pakistan. For 1 year I did Taekwondo, and they gave me from no belt, the blue belt, because I had a good skill, and I was a boxer. So I started doing that, and then I decided to open my own boxing gym in Pakistan. I opened my own boxing gym. The gym was called Club Niroman, because my uncle was in Afghanistan in Club Niroman, and his teacher was Ustad Salahuddin. So I opened the gym for the name was Club Niroman, and it was 1994 when I opened that gym, and then it was in Islamabad, Item 2. And Bismillah Plaza. That was my boxing gym. The people from that time, they know me. And then I started doing again bodybuilding beside that. And 1994, I become in all Pakistan the second guy for bodybuilding. So I got so many medals and stuff, and I was doing bodybuilding. Then I came to Canada, and I start my bodybuilding and boxing. I've been boxing coach for a premier fitness club for almost 15, 16 years. And now in here, I'm boxing coach at 1399 Kennedy Road. As I told you guys, 60% of my life I spend at the gym, at the sports place, and just doing exercise and workouts. So that was the history and documentary about my sport. And my teacher is still Aji Ustad Ahmad Samim from Afghanistan, the best boxer champion, and he was the best. He is the best. Now he lives in Canada, and he's a boxing trainer in Hamilton, Canada. So that was the documentary about my sport history. Thanks for watching.